everyone, it's me, Sapphira. Welcome back to the World Burlesque Day. And today we are talking to Machiel, who is in the Netherlands and is one half of Viva Burlesque. How are you, Machiel?
Doing very well, thank you. And thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you because I've been enjoying the Viva Burlesque examples of beautiful footage for so long on my Instagram. And now we find the person behind this, or one half. Do you want to explain what Viva Burlesque is?
Well, Viva Burlesque is part of our film project. In 2014, we decided to make a film about Mata Hari. Mata Hari was a famous Dutch spy. She lived over 100 years ago, but she also was a very famous dancer, and you could say an early burlesque dancer. And we were so intrigued by her dancing that we got in the research, we got exposed to burlesque dancing, and we decided after we finished the product to look more into burlesque. And that is how the whole thing started. And Viva Burlesque is, you can find it all over on the socials. That is sort of the research we have been doing so far to eventually come to our film. And the film will be specifically on women who are burlesque performers who have visible and invisible disabilities. We're talking about cancer survivors, all kind of people with severe traumas. And normally as a filmmaker, I mean, you do research. What we did, we just went out there, we filmed more than 40 women and we interviewed them. And then, because we are outsiders initially, so we decided if we interview them and we talk to them, we get an idea what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And that's how it actually developed into Viva Burlesque and eventually the film.
Great. And so what got you interested in film? Do you like capturing life through the lens for immortalizing it?
I started filming when I was 17 years old. I mean, it's about storytelling. I've been doing it all my life, worked in television for a while, was a cameraman, I did all kind of stuff. But the last years, I'm more and more concentrating on documentaries because that's the real storytelling. And I take my time, you know, we usually spend 4 years on a documentary. It's the same this way too. I mean, Viva Burlesque, before we end the documentary, I'm sure we're 4 years down the line. It's the only way to do a good job.
100%. And I think it's so fascinating how these things call us, but then they kind of become an extension of us. So probably as you matured and grow, like me with my singing and performing, it's matured with me like a second part, like a cousin. Do you feel it's a part of you that has grown and developed and you've got more practiced and more capable as a filmmaker over the years?
Well, I wouldn't know how to do without it. It's also an urge. So you have to get out. I mean, I always have to be out there and follow things around. I mean, I couldn't even believe what it is to be without it. You know, once you follow a group of people like the burlesque performer, you get part of it. I mean, you grow into that whole scene, and you start discovering certain things, you know, about, you know, how they work together, what's really happening there. I mean, that's so interesting in being a filmmaker. You become part of a certain scene, and after once in a while you go out there to the next. But it's an intense process. I couldn't do without it.
Right. It is sort of a therapy of your own way, like the burlesque.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that.
It's a very important part of expressing yourself, even though it's different to the stage. It's still a stage because a screen is a stage of its own in a way, what you put.
Very true. When you film, a lot of burlesque performers, when they go on stage, you know, a lot of stages, I went all over Europe, they don't have much the aesthetics of these performances. I mean, the lighting is usually not very good. So one of the things that is really important to me is that if you film a performance, you want to do it in the most proper circumstances out of respect for the performance. Because you know how it is, during the Corona, people were performing for their bedrooms with no lighting. It doesn't look good. I think it's much more respectful if you have the proper lighting, the proper aesthetics. And that's what we're trying to do also on our social, on Viva Burlesque. To, you know, to give it the best view possible.
This is my constant quest, because my goal is to elevate burlesque, which is part of the purpose of World Burlesque Day. It just makes it very public, and it makes it look more unified, like we're organized, you know, that we're not this fringe thing. But I have realized my other quest is to get burlesque on the best stages, because it's hard to justify and illustrate how quality the art is when we're left with the back room of the pub with one dirty piece of carpet and, you know, all beer stains. The artist can't get in the kind of creative space, and the audience kind of doesn't get to appreciate this beauty with the extra little touches. So I'm 100% lighting, sound, and the backstage really makes a big difference to the whole environment, and also the kind of language we use as producers. I try and really create a nurturing, very supportive space with plenty of things the artists may need, so they feel really cared for. I think it completely impacts what they do on up there.
Another thing is that when you are in a performance, there is live audience. So you have that incredible atmosphere of the interaction between the performer and the audience. But in the film, that's not there. So in other words, then you have to use film language to tell the story properly. So whole different laws apply. So if you do it in film, you better do it good. And it's very hard to do this with one camera, actually. We always use 3 camera shoots, which is the best thing you have to do. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to make it dynamic.
Yes, that's so true as well. And that requires space, you know. So if you're going to film it, often in a venue at a live show, they're lucky to give you one little corner. You won't get 3 cameras at most live shows, will you? Because there'll be audience and they'll want the seats to get the best view. And so the cameraman gets the kind of the pick of the leftovers. You've been purpose filming in a space though, haven't you, for your documentary, where you've had freedom with being able to be in your own studio? Has that been helpful, having your own space?
That's very true. I built my own, I call it a black box. And it is a studio which is totally in black, and with lighting, you build the scene. And well, you know, you can direct, you have complete control over the situation. And filming in a theater with audience is very difficult, because you usually stand in the way of the audience, which you don't want to do. So you're going to end up in some corner, which is not the best angle at all. So I actually inviting a lot of performers over to the studio, and then we'll shoot a whole day, and then we know we have a good performance. I can say that's our specialty. That's what we really aim for, to shoot those performances in the best possible circumstances. People are excited about it. I mean, the thing is, you know how it is. It's very hard to produce a good clip because it's expensive. So we invite people over. We made a clip. They can use this material for themselves, for their own promotion. So it's a nice project this way. It works for both parties. Win-win. Eh?
Absolutely. And you're so right. I think in particular, I sense with Viva Burlesque, you're elevating the art form by shooting the burlesque performances so beautifully and editing them and making quality video. That's another way we can get the audience and newcomers who've never been to a show to get intrigued if the video is good. I think you guys have done such an excellent job, and it kept catching my eye, the quality video on the Viva Burlesque channel. And I know that's a lot of what you do.
Another thing I do, which is probably worth mentioning, is that I don't work with film lighting, I work with theatrical lighting. And that is not usually done in film, but theatrical lighting gives that atmosphere that also is in a theater. So that helps to get that specific look, because film lighting is a very different thing. So I wouldn't use that. So theatrical lighting is something that is part of this whole concept in the so-called black box studio.
I think that is just so exciting. And I really hope I get to be in that black box studio at some point, because it's
you better.
It sounds so exciting. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Michiel. I'm sure everyone is enjoying the Viva Burlesque videos, and if not, follow them. They are at Viva Burlesque on Instagram, and we're really proud to be co-promoting them this World Burlesque Day. Thank you, Michiel.
Well, thank you again for having me.
Bye.
Bye-bye.